My partner's friend made me wear a wig for their wedding. It made me miserable.
Do you wear wigs?
My partner, Joe, 24 male, and I, 24 female, have been together for 8 years and married for just under a month.
Whoa.
Yay! Jay's best friend, Seth, 23 male, and I have known each other since before Joe and I met. By the way, this comes from Remarkably Proper, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, about a year and a half after Joe and I started dating, Seth started seeing Mia, 23 female, and the double dates commenced. I've never been a huge fan of Mia since she's the type of person to eat 3/4 of her meal at a restaurant, then complain to the waitstaff until they comp the meal, among other things. In the summer of 2021, Seth bought a house for himself and Mia that needed a lot of work due to prior flooding. My partner and I went out there, and Joe and Seth did some work on the plumbing and subfloor. A few other times, Joe went out there to help with other stuff, and by the end of 2021, Seth had the place renovated into a pretty nice house. He and Mia invited us and some of our friends from the friend group out there for a New Year's party. They have a pretty nice detached garage pole barn situation. So they got it set up with adult soda pong and speakers and stuff, meaning people were going back and forth from the pole barn to the house. At one point, it was just Seth and I in the house mixing drinks, and he confided in me that he wasn't entirely happy in his relationship. He talked about how Mia called him names, laughed at him, yelled at him, etc., and asked what he should do. I said what my partner would have said: we have a spare bedroom if you need it. Every time we went out to Seth and Mia's house, Seth would find a way to confide these things in me. They gradually grew worse, too. She threw stuff at him, slammed doors so hard they break off their hinges, stuff like that. Every time I'd remind him we had a spare bedroom, but I couldn't outright tell him to leave her. It didn't feel like my place to make that call. Don't get me wrong, I definitely told him he deserved better, but I wanted him to connect the dots for himself.
That's fair.
In October 2022, while at a Halloween party, Seth showed me a picture of the engagement ring he'd gotten. I don't remember much of the conversation beyond him asking if his proposal plans sounded good. I told him yes, I congratulated him, I did all the things I thought a friend should do. A month later, there are beautiful photos all over Facebook announcing the engagement and announcing that the wedding date was set for October 2023. In February 2023, Mia asked me to stand as a bridesmaid in her wedding, and I genuinely was shocked. We didn't talk much, even at their house parties. My partner, of course, was asked to be the best man, and he instantly accepted. I didn't know what to say. They'd asked us in front of the rest of the wedding party, and I hadn't been expecting it at all, so I accepted too. It made me nervous thinking about it, but if that's what they wanted, then I was gonna do my dangdest to make this wedding work for them. Despite everything Seth had told me, it wasn't my place to cause a scene about it. In March, Mia asked me to make sure my hair was a normal color for the wedding. It's worth mentioning that at the time, my hair was a light lavenderish color, and I'm no stranger to impulsively dyeing my hair a vibrant color. I told her I'd of course make sure it was a normal color, but she'd have to tell me what color. In honesty, because my hair is always a different color, the request didn't bother me much beyond lamenting having to grow out whatever color she told me to go with. Crap really started to hit the fan in August on the bachelorette weekend trip. The drive up was about 2 hours. And Mia spent most of it telling us about the latest wedding drama, that her parents had decided to take all of the money they'd been setting aside for a wedding venue and use it to refurbish their pole barn. Not the pole barn again.
Not the pole barn.
Mia's parents were demanding that Mia and Seth work long hours pouring concrete, putting up walls, and retiling roofs, so the wedding could be held there. Mia talked about how their mother had been especially rude and condescending about the whole thing, calling her an ungrateful witch when Mia talked about wanting the wedding to be somewhere else. I felt so bad for her, and I felt even worse when Mia's mother, along with 8 of her friends, crashed the bachelorette weekend. We were outnumbered in this Airbnb to the point that I had to sleep on the floor.
Oh boy.
There were 9 women, all 50 or older, impeding on Mia's bachelorette weekend. We wasted the entire weekend throwing up on the lake of the paddle boat they crammed all 9 of themselves onto kind of way. Mia had been looking forward to one of those lazy river situations where you rent a bunch of inner tubes and coast down a river and all that.
Fun.
The morning of, though, these women decided it should be put to a vote whether they went. No doubt because some of them were still wasted and some were hungover. And the overall consensus was to skip the tubing that all the bridesmaids had already paid for and instead hang out at the Airbnb.
Dang.
That's so messed up. I mean, Mia seems like she's maybe not a good person, but this is her.
This is your money that you already spent.
I grabbed a few pre-rolls from my luggage, took Mia by the arm, and sat out on the porch with her. We shot the crap about everything, not just the awful turnout of the batch party, but everything else. I felt like we really connected out there, talking about our partners and their friendship and what it would have been like when we had kids and they'd have an extra uncle and aunt. For a long time, I thought Seth and Mia would be the godparents to my husband and my kids. A month before the wedding, Mia called an emergency bridal party meeting at their house. Per usual, my partner and I were the first ones there. Once the rest of the bridal party got there, minus Seth's little sister, she was left out of the bachelorette party too. We talked about the schedule of the day and how the bridal party would make entrances to the venue. At one point, Mia, who was quite wasted by then, pulled me aside and reminded me about the hair color. My hair at the time was split-dyed red and pink. I asked her what color she wanted me to go with, and she said, "Copper would look so good on you." About a week and a half before the wedding, I went out and got a brownish copper hair dye and did the job. Since I colored my hair pretty frequently, it wasn't the healthiest, and I tried my best to do hair masks and stuff to make sure it wasn't too brittle for styling on the day of the wedding. Then, a week before the wedding, my partner proposed to me. I, of course, posted pictures all over Facebook, and my hair in the pictures was copper. The Tuesday before the wedding, Mia texted me and asked if the color of my hair in those photos was how it would be for her wedding day. I said yes, and reminded her that I'd asked her what color to do, and she had told me copper. She denied ever telling me that, and that she would never have suggested copper, since my dress was cinnamon colored. She told me to send her a picture of myself wearing the dress so she could see if the colors clashed too badly. Before I could even send a photo of myself in the dress, she told me to just dye my hair an actual normal color.
Girl, are you going to pay for it?
OP's already said that her hair, is pretty unhealthy right now, so that probably wouldn't be great.
Like,
probably look worse
copper,
if she tried to dye it again so quickly.
And copper is like, that is an actual
That's
normal
natural color.
So, and also, like, no, I would not do that again. Like, it's already so big that OP would do that in the first place to her. Like, that's very nice of her to do.
Yeah.
Because that's expensive, too.
Yeah.
Especially, like, if she's going to want to go back to, pink or purple or pink or red, like, depending on how dark it is, that will be so hard to come back from. So it's like, girl, no, I'm not going to change my hair color for you again for your wedding for one day. No. This turned into a massive back and forth of me telling her that I didn't have the money or time to go and get my hair redone. And I was afraid if I dyed my hair again so soon, it'd break off and be even more awful. I offered to step out of frame for her pictures. I offered to have my hair up so it wasn't touching the dress. I offered to suggest her photographer that they color correct my hair. Her mind was made up though. She told me she'd have me wear a wig for the entire day. I told her I certainly couldn't afford a high-quality wig, and she told me she'd pay for it. The entire bridal party had gotten a text from Seth and Mia requesting all of us be at the venue, about an hour and 45-minute drive, at noon the Friday before the wedding to help do final touches before the rehearsal dinner at 5. Of the entire bridal party, my partner and I were the only ones who showed up at noon. Everyone else didn't show up until 5 or later. We went up to Seth to greet him, and the first thing he said to us, "Is it too late to call it off?" The wedding?
Dude, I don't like Seth either. Dude, you're telling your friends this whole time that you freaking hate this woman and don't want to be in a relationship with her.
Yeah.
And then say, is it too, call it off.
Just call it off. It's never too late because now you're going to be stuck.
You're going to be literally leave her.
You're going to be having a kid and you're going to be like, is it too late to get a divorce? It's like,
just leave her.
Just get
leave
out
her
of there.
Now. You should have left her earlier. You should leave her now. She's clearly unhealthy. You do not want to be in a relationship with this person.
Exactly.
Wrestling Mama says he's afraid. Yeah, of course. This, maybe there are a lot of different reasons why he might be, not able to or feel like he's not able to leave this relationship. But you are able to leave this relationship.
Yeah, just please.
Leave it. Leave it. And in proper supportive fashion, we told him no, reminded him of our spare bedroom. I'd had a nightmare the night before of the maid of honor attacking me when she saw my hair. So when she finally showed up around 5:30 and came right up to me, I nearly pissed myself. She held out her hand and pointed to her ring finger. It dawned on me that I had indeed gotten engaged a few days prior. Easy to forget, given all the other stuff going on. And I held out my hand so she could see the ring. She gushed about how beautiful it was, and she told me she needed to talk to me after the rehearsal. Fair enough. I confided in her when we stepped outside that I was terrified she wanted to beat me up, and she told me the whole story of the texts, how she had told Mia not to send them and to let her handle it, how her work friends had read all the screenshots Mia sent and thought she was taking things way too far. We talked for a long time, and at the end of it, she said she'd check with Mia on where the wig situation stood. Before the end of the night, she pulled me aside again and confirmed that Mia wanted me to wear the wig the entire night and that she wouldn't settle for an updo or anything of the sort. The maid of honor then invited me to spend the night with the rest of the bridesmaids at Mia's house, which I politely declined. I was expected at a salon about an hour from my house the next morning at 8 a.m., and I arrived at 7:45 just to be safe. The rest of the bridesmaids, along with the bride, all showed up shortly thereafter. The salon is owned by one of M's mom's cousins, who also happened to be at the bachelorette weekend. She was one of the dumb butts puking off the side of the paddle boat. She got me in a chair before I even set my bag down, and by 8 a.m., I had the most hideous wig slapped on my head.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes. She didn't even style it, didn't even bobby pin it down. It took 10 minutes max. The other bridesmaids got their hair styled in super cute curls and waterfall braids, and I sat there with an unstyled, unflattering wig on my head that wasn't even properly covering my hairline.
Oh my gosh. Mia doesn't have any experience with wigs.
We got our makeup done at the salon too by a different lady. When I sat down in the chair, she asked me if I was okay because nobody was speaking to me. I asked her if the makeup was waterproof or anything, and she told me to just try my best not to cry. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. She ended up doing my makeup pretty quickly too. And in all, I spent maybe half an hour in a salon chair. The other bridesmaids had way more time for hair and makeup, and between the way the wig looked and the fact that none of them would even look at me, I excused myself to go out to my car. I have never cried the way I did in that car.
Aww.
I called Joe, who was riding with the groomsmen I was going to walk down the aisle with. I tipped my head down so the tears wouldn't leave tracks in my foundation.
Oh my gosh.
I cried that I wanted to go home and that I couldn't keep doing this. I told them how I felt like I was back in middle school and high school being bullied, all because I did what the bride told me to do. I dyed my hair the color she told me to dye it. He reminded that I wasn't standing in the wedding for Mia, but for Seth, who doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah, this poor man. Mia is just, she's got her claws in everyone, just controlling everyone.
Leave her. Leave her.
Yes.
But the problem is now we're at the wedding day, and now he's going to be the guy that left the girl at the altar if he does that.
Well, good.
She sucks.
Still, yeah, definitely would suck. But
not
like,
great optics, though, for him.
Right.
Everyone's going to be like, wow, you left a woman at the altar, which
but
sucks.
It's like, well, I needed to.
But you show him, any girl he would date, you just show him the story, and they'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Show him this podcast.
See how crazy she was?
I told him I couldn't even do it for Seth because Seth knew about the situation. Joe hadn't talked to him about it and wasn't willing to stand up for me, which I'm not saying I expected him to stand up to his soon-to-be wife for another woman, but it doesn't change the fact that I couldn't handle the pressure and the bullying. Joe told me that I should do it for him and that after this, we'd figure it out. After the ceremony, Al, the groomsman I had walked with, caught me crying. We were all supposed to be taking photos, and I couldn't stop thinking about how these people were supposed to be the godparents to our future children.
Aww.
And they couldn't even stand to have me in the photos without a wig on my head. And went into the house and came out with one of those little pocket-sized shooters of Pink Whitney for me.
Nice.
After dinner, I slipped out to go to the bathroom, i.e. cry a bit more and call my mom. My mom told me to take the wig off and get a ride home, and that it wasn't worth it. I told her Mia was making me keep it on the entire night. Before she could really convince me to get the heck out of there, Joe tracked me down. He didn't know what to say. He just held me for a while, then told me I had to come back because they were starting speeches. Joe sucks too. I'm gonna say it. Joe sucks.
Yeah.
I understand he wants to be there for his friend, but his friend doesn't want to be there. Your girlfriend doesn't want to be there. She's been bullied into wearing a stupid wig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shortly after the dancing really got going and the sun had fully set, Al started asking me if it hurt if he yanked the wig off. I told him they hadn't even bothered to pin the dang thing up.
Oh my gosh.
I told him not to because I didn't want to face the wrath of Mia. He asked me if I would rather spend the rest of the night miserable, and I shrugged a shoulder and told him to do whatever he wanted. He yanked the wig off and tossed it on one of the empty tables, then told me if Seth or Mia have a crap to say, You tell them to come say it to me. Al is way better than your boyfriend.
Hey, we love Al. Good job,
Al. Al's the only person in the story besides OP who's awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone else kind of sucks.
Like, I think she knows that obviously Mia is like a terrible friend now. But if you don't want to take off a wig because you're scared of what your friend is going to say, then like that is not someone that you should be near at all in any capacity.
Nope. And people who are telling you that you have to be near them, not cool. Few of the wedding guests even came up to me and said that my hair, despite being braided tightly to my head for the wig to lay on top, looked much better like this.
Aww.
In the days following the wedding, Mia started sharing photos to Facebook, but none of them had me in them. I couldn't tell if I was more relieved to not have to see the palpable misery on my face, or furious that she had me put on a wig just to exclude my face from all the posts anyway. I fell into this horrible despair. I thought I'd be relieved to be done, but instead I was left with this gaping feeling. My partner and I had just stood for his best friend and my close friend on the most important day of his life, and we had nothing to show for it. There would be no showing our kids photos from Aunt Mia and Uncle Seth's wedding day because that wasn't me in the photos, and even if it was, they didn't bother to send us any photos from the day at any point. 2 weeks after Seth and Mia's wedding, we were hosting a Halloween party. Partly as a gift to the newlyweds, and partly because they usually hosted Halloween and we wanted to give them a break. They said they would come, but the night before the party, they canceled on us. As frustrated as I was to be throwing this party for them, only for them to cancel, I can't say I wasn't a little relieved. I didn't know how to talk to either of them after that day, and I didn't want to be forced to figure it out quite yet. The beginning of November, a month and a half after the wedding day, Joe sent Seth and Mia a message in a group chat without me in it. The message reiterated that they are always welcome at her house. We were hosting a Friendsgiving at that end of November and had extended the invitation to them, but that we were both incredibly hurt by what went down with the wedding. Joe requested an apology for the hurt I was put through, especially after Mia told me to dye my hair copper, then tried to tell me she never would have said that. Mia responded that I was just mad because I didn't get what I wanted, that we were asinine if we thought she'd see my ugly butt hair and do anything other than throw a wig on my head.
Oh my God.
That she wouldn't apologize for something she's not sorry for.
Girl, get me on the phone with this Mia. Give me her address. I'm going to pull up. Give her some words. Oh my goodness gracious.
The following day, Seth called Joe to apologize. Apparently, he told Mia not to send the message. He told Joe that he thought I owed Mia an apology for taking the wig off. During the phone call, Seth said something along the lines of being done with the friend group, that he only wanted to hang out with Joe over all of it. The friend group, who already didn't have the best impression of Mia even before all the crap went down, was unanimously fine with that decision. The day after Seth and Joe's call, Mia sent me a one-on-one message, a novel, about how she would have dyed her hair whatever color I wanted for my wedding because there are temporary colors and it fade eventually. She also accused me of not knowing her well enough to be saying what I was about her mother back during the bachelorette trip, that I was being stuck up and so on and so forth. I typed up a similar length response, and I'm proud to say I kept it civil. I reminded her that I did dye my hair the exact color she wanted, that I just refused to do it a second time in fear of frying my hair or making it look worse. I apologized for what I'd said about her mother, but I also told her that if I didn't know her well enough to talk honestly with her about something that was deeply troubling her, I never should have been standing in the wedding in the first place. Great point. I told her that if I was stuck up, I would have taken myself home instead of still standing in the wedding party, despite everything she put me through. It took 2 days for Mia to respond, and she replied with, "After processing, I feel like I owe you an apology." What? Girl.
But that was it?
Yeah.
I read ahead a little bit.
I feel like I owe, okay. End of message.
I feel like I owe you an apology. And then
didn't actually give apology.
Yeah, what? This girl, man. This girl.
End of message. We expected to see them at Friendsgiving and try to smooth things over in person, but Seth texted Joe a literal hour before they were supposed to arrive and said that Mia wanted to go look at Christmas lights in a city almost 2 hours away. Joe was faced with the impossible decision as we grew closer to planning our own wedding of whether Seth could be his best man. Ultimately, Seth made the decision for him by blocking me on Facebook and removing me from his contacts on everything. For a long time, that was it. Seth and Mia were strangers to us. We didn't even invite them to our wedding. Oof. The reason I hash this all out now, though, is that I'm left with an impossible situation and I need help. In March of this year, about 2 months before Joe and my wedding, Seth called Joe while Joe was at work and asked what had happened to them. Joe asked if he was joking, and when he realized Seth wasn't, he laid it all out. The wig, the non-apology, the name-calling, all of it. Apparently, Seth and Mia don't have anyone to hang out with anymore. Wonder why. Mostly due to the way they treated me. Seth must have taken notes during this phone call or something, because a day or so later, Seth sent a long apology to Joe for me. Apparently, Mia had written that apology that I needed over a year and a half ago, gave it to Seth, and Seth gave it to Joe. Joe had been looking for the right time to tell me about it.
For a year and a half?
Joe, again, I don't like Joe.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with
She
this
sent an
Joe.
apology. I mean, yeah, you don't have to accept it, but the fact that he hid it for a year?
Yeah.
He said it sounds sort of legit, but he also admitted that it sounds like Seth had written it himself. All of this with the intention of Seth and Joe hanging out together, which, let me be clear, I never prevented. I encouraged Joe to keep up with Seth. I just didn't want anything to do with him. The moment Mia had that wig put on my head, it's like she and Seth became strangers to me. So that's why I'm here. I haven't read the apology, and my partner said he wouldn't blame me if I never wanted to read it. Even typing this all out is reminding me the kind of emotional turmoil they put me through over this. What's the play? Do I read the apology? It sounds like Seth and Mia want to go back to double dating and house parties like before. Is that a possibility? I genuinely don't think I could ever look either one of them in the eye again, but do I owe it to them and to my partner to try? And there is an update.
Oh gosh.
It seems like the apology was it doesn't seem like he hid it for a year and a half. It seems like they sent it a year and a half later. I think I misunderstood that.
Okay.
I told my husband I'm not going to read the letter. The apology is a year and a half late. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a load of BS intended to get back to being friends with him. If they truly cared about me in this situation, they'd never have called me crazy. They'd have apologized the minute I expressed how hurt I was. They wouldn't have done what they did in the first place. Joe is a huge believer in giving people room to grow and learn from mistakes, which is why he told me about the letter in the first place and not just burned it himself. After our talk, he realizes what kind of damage it would do to me to let Seth and Mia back into our lives, even if they had grown and changed. I don't need to be their human empathy test subject. I truly hope they've become better people, but given they're reaching back out because nobody else will be friends with them, I doubt they have. As for the comments, I had a lot of people asserting that the outcome of this is entirely my fault and that I let myself be walked over, so I deserved everything that came to me. Well, I don't entirely disagree. I do think that even in my long post, there's a lot of context missing. To start, Joe and Seth have been best friends for over 10 years at this point. If I caused a scene at Seth's wedding, even warranted, I feared what it would do to their friendship. The friendship basically ended either way thanks to Seth's wife, but I digress. I wore the wig because I didn't want to rock the boat. I was young and naive and didn't actually think Mia would make me wear a wig until the morning of, when they were slapping a wig on my head and shooing me out of the salon chair. I'd heard from Mia firsthand how much stress she was under due to the wedding and her insane mother, and I thought being a sounding board for her and being there for her would have made her have a change of heart. Instead, I became the target. She couldn't very well bully her mother, so she bullied me instead. There were also a lot of people calling me out about Seth pulling me aside and telling me how unhappy he was. And again, I think you're missing key context. I didn't just tell him we have a spare bedroom for you and leave it at that. I talked at length with him about these things. I told him that he deserved better, that he could come stay with us for as long as he needed to figure things out, that no matter how deep the hole he dug himself felt, we were there to get him out of it. He had a house and pets with Mia. He worked with Mia's dad. She had successfully made herself a part of every piece of his life. And in our conversations, I told Seth that Joe and I could help him detach however he needed. I even told him he was being mistreated, especially when it came to things being thrown and doors being slammed.
Yeah.
But Seth is of the mindset that men could never be the victims of domestic violence, which is not true, Seth. Is not true. I wonder if that mindset has changed by now. I mean, yeah, it seems like he's living in that world of like, oh, well, I can't be a so I have to stay with her.
Yeah, so like this is just me being too sensitive or something.
Which is not true.
So
Seth,
not true.
Please leave her. Point is, I said everything but outright telling him to leave Mia. Maybe that's what the comments were getting at, is that I should have spelled it out like that. The day before the wedding, Seth asked if it was too late, and Joe and I told him no. We told him he could get in the car and we could drive away with no questions asked. Seth is a grown adult too. He chose what he did. By the way, you can choose to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Do it.
There is a little bit left to this story.
Oof. Poor Seth.
Yeah.
Poor
I mean, it really
Seth.
sucks because Seth is in a really bad situation and
Yeah.
cannot see it. And you can't force him
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, that does have to be something that he has to choose on his own.
Yeah.
So I feel like OP was going about that in the right way. You
Yeah.
know, she's like, we'll be here for you. We'll support you. If you do want to leave, won't ask any questions. We'll just get out of here.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, he has to make that decision for himself again.
Yeah.
So,
You guys tried.
yeah.
But you don't deserve for Seth or Mia to mistreat you. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit more to the story. Lots of people were coming after my husband as well, and I can't lie. Seth and Mia's wedding definitely did some damage to our relationship. I left that situation feeling like no matter how many times Joe told me I was the most important person in his life, there would always be something or someone that could get in the way of that. Things were rocky for a bit. He was apologetic the moment the wedding was over, wishing he'd taken the wig off my head, or gone to the salon and picked me up and taken me home. Hindsight is 20/20, I guess. If either of us had known that no matter what, Seth and Mia were going to completely isolate themselves, I wouldn't have worried so much about preserving Joe and Seth's friendship, and neither would he. At the end of it, though, Joe and I had talked it through. We knew where our priorities lie. The only reason he'd been advocating for me to read the apology letter was for my own peace of mind and my own closure. He respects my decision to leave the note unread and leave Seth and Mia to be unhappily ever after. And folks, that is the end of that story.
My friend demands I wear body paint for her wedding because my skin disgusts them.
Well, your friend disgusts me.
My friend has just gotten engaged and has asked me to be her maid of honor. I am beyond thrilled for her and beyond touched that she has asked me, but it's on the condition that I wear body makeup over my psoriasis. I can't do that because not only is it impractical, any makeup that will actually cover it will exacerbate the condition and make life miserable for me. By the way, this comes from a whole bag of cheese. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, to be clear, I have it well controlled. I'm not flaky. The skin is simply very red. It covers 80% of one forearm, 20% on the other, both elbows, and I have large patches on my calves, knees, and 90% of the top of one foot. I use gentle manual exfoliation and moisturizer that helps control the dry and excess skin. I apply the moisturizer a couple of times a day and wouldn't be able to do this while wearing makeup. I let her know that I wouldn't be able to do that, explained why, and even though she knows that I have to be careful with all the products that I use, and she's quite unhappy with me. She wants beautiful photographs that make everyone feel beautiful and confident, which really upset me.
Yeah, and telling your friend that she needs to wear makeup to look beautiful and confident, you're
Yeah.
not really doing a good job in making her feel beautiful and or confident.
Exactly. I am content and confident in my skin, and I know it's there and people stare sometimes, but what can I do about that? Most people think that I have some kind of gnarly motorbike accident or something, TBH. I'm at a point in my life where I honestly don't care and often forget that it's unusual to see. I know the reason is because she doesn't want to see it in her photos, and I said as much to her and she was offended. I suggested that I wear something with long sleeves and a skirt, but she already has her heart set on midi-length strapless dresses, and a shawl covering it won't go. It got to the point where she was getting heated because I won't do it and told me that I either wore the body makeup or don't bother even coming. I ended up telling her that either she has me as is or not at all and left. She is now not speaking to me, but has told her fiance that I accepted the role. Some of OP's comments. Commenter says, info, why are you friends with this person? OP says, I've known her forever and we have had a really great relationship usually, and this hasn't ever been a problem before. When we have had little disagreements, we've both been really understanding about it, and those have been few and far between. I really don't understand this. It's so out of character for her. To another commenter, because she's usually a really kind and caring, empathetic person, genuinely too, we've been through a lot together and have supported each other through some really messed up times. She's good fun, funny without making fun of people. She's just a good egg. Any disagreements or issues we've had have always been talked through with care and consideration on both sides, and it's never felt unbalanced. This is truly really out of character for her. Another commenter says, not the a-hole. Psoriasis can be so painful and debilitating during a flare-up, and I'm assuming that since you were asked to be the maid of honor, she has known you and about your psoriasis and the psoriasis control routine. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your skin's health for days or weeks after the wedding just to be there. You have given her alternate options to help conceal your reddened skin for photos, and she's not even considering them or your feelings or health. OP says, that's exactly it. It's taken so long to find a good combination of things that work and keep it stable, and she's seen me at my absolute worst with it and never said or done anything other than be supportive about it. I really don't want to miss her wedding, but I can't physically or mentally deal with how bad it's been before. Commenter says, you're definitely not the a-hole. As someone who also suffers from psoriasis, I'd like to suggest seeing a medical professional because manual exfoliation and applying moisturizer multiple times a day, which I know from personal experience is helpful. I also know from personal experience that there are so many prescription topicals or not topicals that treat psoriasis far better. A small amount of topical steroid, acetonide. It is a topical steroid that applied a few times a week keeps my psoriasis in check. It really doesn't sound like yours is well managed. But for this particular issue, I'd stick with, I can't commit to wearing makeup to cover up my skin, so if my skin is enough of a problem for you to exclude me from your wedding party, then so be it. OP says, thank you for your concern. A few comments have made me realize that I probably need a new dermatologist and a new approach. I have tried a few different steroid-based creams and ointments, but after time, my skin would become quite thin and it would stay pink even still. I couldn't play rough with my dog because she'd break the skin even playing gently, and I'm also really clumsy and would knock my elbows on doors and walls and the skin would split. I have just been resigned to the redness and my current routine has been working. My current dermatologist basically said that my condition isn't serious enough for some meds and that others I can't use due to liver issues. OP is just essentially voted not the a-hole. And we have an update, but do we agree with the commenters?
Obviously not the a-hole.
Yeah.
I think that if your friend is more concerned about optics over your health,
Yeah.
regardless of like if that's, you know, internal or external health,
Yeah.
then she's not really your friend.
Yeah.
I just think in general, you cannot tell someone to wear, unless you're in a play or in a film, you can't tell someone that they need to wear makeup.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just ever, even if this woman didn't have psoriasis.
Yeah.
I think it's,
it's so silly. It's like, I keep thinking, you know, a solution to covering it up would probably be like pantyhose or like tights or sleeves or something like that. But again, I agree with you. It's like, you shouldn't even need to cover it up. Like if
this is you, this is what you look like.
Yeah. If you're a real friend, then you would be supporting your friend through this and like, you know, empowering them. But this is clearly the opposite.
It's like if someone has like a lot of acne and you're like, oh, you have to actually cover all of that up. It's like, that's like, that is their skin.
Can you just like do this to be more beautiful for my things? It's like, huh? You don't think I'm beautiful?
Yeah.
I know I am. So that's your problem. We do have an update. So firstly, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented. I honestly thought the majority would tell me to suck it up. It's just a few hours for one day. And was surprised by all the supportive comments, compromise, suggestions and encouragement to seek further treatment for the sake of my health, not my appearance. I'm definitely going to take my psoriasis more seriously due to some of you, so thank you. Also, sorry to the mods, they had to lock comments because too many people were being rude. I also want to mention all the Photoshop and editing comments. I feel stupid for not even considering it in the moment. It's such a simple and obvious solution. I was so shocked and taken aback by my friend's reaction and insistence, and it didn't even cross my mind. I spent the night bawling my eyes out because a lot of the comments made me feel like I wasted nearly 30 years of friendship with this person. Doubt a lot of it. I love her still and was still so confused.
There's no such thing as wasting years on friendship.
Yeah.
It just sometimes you grow out of a friendship.
Yeah.
Or they grow out of you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to call my friend tonight to discuss this again. I was truly touched that she asked me to be maid of honor. She has such a close relationship with her sister that I never thought even once that she would ask me. I didn't end up calling my friend as her fiance called me to thank me for accepting the role, to tell me secretly that his family wanted to pay for the bridal shower, hens night, and anything else that we wanted to do or go, as he knows the people that the friend wanted as other bridesmaids weren't in a position to be able to contribute, and that he and his family would reimburse me any costs for body makeup, which did flag as odd to me. I told him that I hadn't accepted the role and that the friend had told me earlier that I wear the makeup or don't come at all. And fiance was shocked and confused I explained to him that even mild inflammation would cause days and weeks of irritation at best, or months of pain and cracked skin, and possible infections at worst. He had no idea and was completely oblivious and very confused. He's only really known me while my condition has been pretty decently controlled, and I tend to play it off as not so serious to people because I just don't want to talk about it. We finished our phone call, and after a couple of hours, my friend called me back. I can tell that she's been crying and was quite upset. She apologized profusely, and it turns out that her future mother and sister-in-law had been picking away at her, making her feel awful about herself and how she needs to be perfect, presentable, and beautiful on the day, that nothing can distract from her. They both had convinced her that she is especially kind in not worrying or caring about how I looked, but that everyone else is just lying to me and her about not caring. It's been going on for months, even before they knew of the engagement. Little digs about me trying to turn my friend against me. Oh gosh. Both mother-in-law and sister-in-law are apparently disgusted by my psoriasis to the point that it makes them physically ill, and that her entire wedding day will revolve around how I look and will make everyone miserable. Holy crap. These terrible people.
Suck.
Wow.
Yikes.
That it's all anyone would speak about, and if I came, no guest would be able to eat or enjoy themselves.
She's not Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
She's a person with red skin.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be more understanding about something that she can't control.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
That I was selfish for even considering going without hiding it. They didn't want me there at all and were threatening my friend with not allowing the wedding at all. It was never about the photographs. It was about my condition being visible in general. And you know what you should do in general is go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime, because you're going to find more full episodes of stories just like this one. Get on over there. Get on over there. And there's a little bit more to the story, but oh my gosh, do these women stink.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. Faith Reacts says that's just BS. I have a skin condition called eczema and it sucks. Water and soap dries out my skin, and I used to have claw marks on my arms because it itched too much. Oh, that sucks, dude.
Not fun.
And that's the kind of thing too where it's like it just doesn't go away. Like you can treat it, but it's never gonna just heal completely. So yeah, it absolutely sucks. I think most people would be a lot more understanding of it.
You would think,
and these people just must have very unhappy and insecure lives themselves.
Absolutely. So like self-absorbed and,
yeah, shallow.
Shallow is the word I was looking for, yes.
And there is a little bit more to the story, so let's jump right in. I didn't really know what to say or do. It was a lot to process, and I do truly believe my friend is sorry. Like I said, this was so out of character for her. My friend's fiance got on the phone once she'd finished explaining. He is going to speak to his family. He apparently had no idea that this was happening and is pissed for my friend and on my behalf. I don't know what's happening with the wedding or wedding party, but my friend has said that she can't imagine her day without me there and that she feels awful that she allowed them to manipulate her that way. I don't know how I feel yet. I have emotional whiplash. I'm hurt and confused that my friend let them convince her to go through with this, but I do think and hope that we can get through this. OP adds a comment on her reposted story to a different subreddit. Oh, hey, that's me. I just edited an update into the original post. Still hurt by my friend's choices, but ultimately understand where she's coming from and believe her apology wholeheartedly. The positive to come out of this situation is that I'm going to take my psoriasis a lot more seriously and will be finding a rheumatologist and a new dermatologist since mine apparently sucks real bad. And that's the end of that story. I believe that friendship could be
I think it could, if she's
fixed.
truly serious, and genuinely apologizes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that it can work. It's good that she realized, it's good that she's apologizing, and hopefully they can figure it out. And hopefully they have a beautiful, beautiful wedding with this beautiful, beautiful bridesmaid.